I have no idea what race I am. I'm staring at my laptop screen at 2:47 a.m., and the 23andMe results are still there. Still real. Still completely destroying everything I thought I knew about myself. 46.8% Korean. 41.2% Sub-Saharan African. 12% scattered European. That definitely isn't the Italian my parents have been feeding me for 17 years. My hands are shaking as I screenshot the results for the fourth time, like somehow the pixels might rearrange themselves into the story I've been told my whole life. The story about my birth mother Maria from Naples, and my unknown father who was probably Italian too. Honey, that's where you get those beautiful dark eyes. Lies. All of it. I slammed the laptop shut and pace around my room, stepping over the Princeton University brochures Mom strategically scattered on my floor yesterday. Even in my identity crisis, I can't escape her college propaganda campaign. The house is silent except for Dad snoring down the hall. Richard and Patricia Whitmore, pillars of Westfield community, sleeping peacefully while their adopted daughter's world implodes. I wonder if they ever lost sleep over this secret, or if lying to me became as routine as Patricia's Tuesday tennis matches. I grab my phone and scroll through my camera roll, looking at 17 years of family photos with new eyes. There's last Christmas, me standing between my pale, blonde parents like some kind of genetic anomaly they never bothered to explain properly. There's my 8th birthday party where Mrs. Henderson asked if I was exotic, and Mom quickly changed the subject. There's dozens of family gatherings where relatives made comments about my interesting look, and my parents would just smile and nod. They all knew. They had to know. The worst part isn't even that they lied, it's that they stole entire cultures from me. 17 years I could have spent learning Korean, connecting with my heritage, understanding the black experience that's literally in my blood. Instead, I got Patricia's bizarre attempts to cook authentic Italian meals and stories about a grandmother in Italy who never existed. I ordered this DNA test 3 weeks ago using birthday money from Grandma Rose. The irony isn't lost on me that her gift helped expose her son's deception. I thought I'd get some cool details about regional Italian ancestry to put in my college essays. Maybe find some distant cousins in Sicily. Instead, I found out I'm not who I am. My phone buzzes. A text from my best friend Jenna. Girl, why are you active on Instagram at 3 a.m.? Everything okay? I start typing and deleting responses. How do you explain that your entire identity was a lie? That your parents looked at a mixed black and Korean baby and decided that was too complicated for their suburban white fantasy? The anniversary party is in 6 days. Mom's been planning Richard and Patricia's 25th wedding celebration for months, their perfect love story, showcase for 150 of their closest friends and family. The same people who've spent years making microaggressive comments about my appearance while my parents smiled and nodded. I look at the screenshot again. 46.8% Korean. 41.2% Sub-Saharan African. For the first time in hours, I smile. Patricia wants a perfect anniversary party. She's going to get one she'll never forget. I reopen my laptop and start researching. I have 6 days to learn everything I can about who I really am, and then I'm going to introduce myself properly to everyone who's been living this lie with my parents. The real me deserves to exist. The next morning, I wake up to the smell of Patricia's signature blueberry pancakes, her go-to move when she's trying to butter me up for something. I check my phone, 11:23 a.m. My laptop is still open beside me, displaying 17 different tabs about Korean adoption records and African ancestry databases. Maya. Breakfast. Mom's voice carries that artificial cheeriness she uses when she wants something. I screenshot my DNA results one more time and head downstairs, studying my parents' faces like I'm seeing them for the first time. Dad's reading the Wall Street Journal, his graying hair perfectly styled even on Saturday morning. Mom's flitting around the kitchen in her cream cashmere sweater, the picture of suburban perfection. There's my sleepyhead, Patricia says, sliding a plate toward me. I was hoping we could finalize the anniversary party seating chart today. Aunt Carol is bringing her new boyfriend, and you know how she gets around Uncle Jim since the divorce. I cut into my pancakes, watching the syrup bleed across the plate. Mom, can I ask you something about my adoption? The kitchen goes quiet except for the coffee maker's gurgling. Dad's newspaper crinkles as his grip tightens. Of course, sweetheart. What's on your mind? Patricia's voice is carefully controlled, but I catch the glance she shoots Dad. I've been thinking about applying for dual citizenship. You know, for college applications. The Italian thing could really help with study abroad programs. I take a deliberate bite, maintaining eye contact. I'd need some documentation about my birth mother. Maria, right? From Naples. Dad clears his throat. Maya, you know we don't have much information about your biological parents. The adoption agency was very limited in what they could provide. Which agency was it again? Another loaded silence. Patricia busies herself wiping down the already spotless counter. Mercy Family Services, Dad says finally. But honey, they closed down years ago. All those records are probably gone. I nod thoughtfully, pulling out my phone. That's weird, because I found their website last night. They're still operating. Same address on Maple Street downtown. I show them the screen, watching their faces drain of color. I was thinking of calling them Monday. Maybe they have more information about Maria than they originally shared. Patricia's laugh sounds like glass breaking. Oh, Maya, I don't think that's necessary. Why dig up the past when we have such a beautiful future to focus on? Speaking of which, Princeton called yesterday asking about your mid-year grades. I want to know where I come from. I interrupt, letting steel creep into my voice. Don't you think I deserve to understand my heritage? Dad folds his newspaper with sharp, angry movements. Maya Elizabeth, you are a Whitmore. That's your heritage. We've given you everything, a beautiful home, the best education, opportunities that your birth mother never could have provided. That girl from where, Dad? I lean forward. Naples. Or somewhere else. The kitchen feels like a pressure cooker about to explode. Patricia's knuckles are white as she grips the granite countertop. I don't appreciate this interrogation, Dad snaps. We've been nothing but loving parents to you, and this is how you repay us. By questioning everything we've done for you. I stand up, my chair scraping against the hardwood floor. I'm not questioning what you've done for me. I'm questioning what you've done to me. As I head toward the stairs, I hear Patricia whisper urgently to Dad, Richard, what if she actually calls them? What if they tell her? They won't, he hisses back. We made sure of that 17 years ago. I freeze on the bottom step, my blood turning to ice. They didn't just lie about my heritage. They actively covered it up. This goes deeper than I thought. I spend the rest of Saturday locked in my room, diving deeper into my research with a fury I didn't know I possessed. Dad's words keep echoing, we made sure of that 17 years ago. What exactly did they make sure of? I start with Mercy Family Services website, scrolling through their testimonials and success stories. Most of the photos show white families with white babies, but there are a few mixed-race children scattered throughout, clearly for diversity optics. I screenshot everything, building what I'm starting to think of as my evidence file. At 3:17 p.m., I find something that makes my stomach drop. Mercy Family Services has a search registry, a database where adopted children and birth parents can find each other. I create an account with shaking fingers, entering my birth date, March 15, 2007, and the limited information I have. The system shows me 3 potential matches. One is a Korean woman named Sunmi Park who gave birth to a daughter in March 2007. Her profile, created just 6 months ago, has a single line that makes me want to scream, looking for my daughter. I never wanted to give her up. I was told she needed parents who could give her opportunities one couldn't provide, but I think about her every day. The second match is from a black woman named Keisha Williams, age 19 at time of birth, also March 2007. Her message is longer, I was young and scared, but I loved my baby girl so much. The adoption counselor said the family specifically requested a biracial child because they understood the unique challenges she would face. I chose them because they promised to help her celebrate both sides of her heritage. If you're reading this, baby girl, mama never forgot you. My hands are trembling so hard I can barely scroll to the third match, but when I do, my world explodes again. It's a couple's profile, Sunmi Park and Marcus Williams. They're listed as birth parents seeking daughter born March 15, 2007. There's a photo, a Korean woman and a black man, both looking older now but with eyes that mirror mine exactly. My parents aren't adoptive strangers who made a mistake about my heritage. They're my birth parents. And they've been looking for me. I read their joint message through tears, we were never married, but we both loved our daughter desperately. We were told she was being adopted by a family who would honor both of our cultures and help her understand her identity. We were young, Sunmi was 17, Marcus was 19, and the counselors convinced us we couldn't provide the stability she deserved. We agreed to a closed adoption but always hoped she would find us someday. We both live in Portland now and would love nothing more than to meet the amazing young woman she's become. Portland. They're 5 hours away. They loved me. They wanted me. And somehow, Richard and Patricia convinced an adoption agency to tell them I was going to parents who would honor both cultures, while simultaneously convincing me that my birth parents were dead Italian strangers. My bedroom door rattles with angry knocking. Maya Elizabeth Whitmore, you will come to dinner right now. Patricia's voice is sharp with panic. We need to discuss your attitude this morning. And your father wants your phone. I quickly create accounts on every social media platform I can think of, following Sunmi Park and Marcus Williams on all of them. Then I screenshot their profiles and upload everything to a cloud drive. If Richard and Patricia think they can control this situation by taking my technology, they're about to learn how wrong they are. Maya. Now. I look at myself in my bedroom mirror, really look. I can see Sunmi's delicate features around my eyes, Marcus's strong jawline, the beautiful blend of two people who loved me enough to make an impossible sacrifice. Richard and Patricia didn't just steal my identity. They stole me from parents who never wanted to let me go. The anniversary party is in 5 days, and I'm about to give everyone a reunion they'll never forget. I stare at Sunmi and Marcus's photos until my eyes burn, memorizing every detail of faces that should have been in my life for 17 years. At 4:43 p.m., I finally work up the courage to send them a message through the registry platform. Hi. I think I'm your daughter. Born March 15, 2007, adopted through Mercy Family Services. My name is Maya, but I don't know if that's what you would have called me. I live in Westfield with Richard and Patricia Whitmore. They told me you were dead. I hit send before I can lose my nerve, then immediately panic. What if they don't want contact? What if seeing me brings back painful memories? What if? My phone buzzes with a notification. Sunmi Park has responded. Maya. We named you Zara Sun Williams. Zara means blooming flower in Korean and Arabic. We thought about you every day for 17 years, 4 months, and 12 days. Can we video call? My hands shake as I type back, yes. But I'm at my adoptive parents' house. They don't know I found you. We can be very quiet. Marcus is here with me. We're both crying happy tears. 5 minutes later, I'm staring at my laptop screen where two faces that look like puzzle pieces of my own are smiling through tears. Sunmi has the same almond-shaped eyes I see in the mirror every day. Marcus has my exact nose and a dimple in his left cheek that I never understood until now. Zara, Sunmi whispers, and something inside me breaks open. You're so beautiful. You look just like I imagined, but better. Marcus wipes his eyes. We have so many pictures to show you. We never stopped hoping for this day. The Whitmores told me my birth mother was Italian, I say, and watch their faces crumple with confusion and anger. Italian? Marcus's voice is tight. They promised us they would teach you about both your cultures. Korean language, Black history, everything. That was the main reason we chose them. Sunmi nods vigorously. The counselor showed us their application. They wrote essays about wanting to adopt a mixed-race child specifically because Richard had studied in Seoul and Patricia had taught in predominantly black schools. They said they understood how important cultural identity was. My stomach lurches. That's not true. Patricia teaches at Westfield Prep. It's 94% white. And Dad works in finance. I've never heard him speak a word of Korean. The silence stretches between us until Marcus speaks, his voice deadly quiet. They lied to us. And they lied to me, I add. For 17 years. Sunmi's face hardens in a way that reminds me of my own anger. What else did they tell you about us? That you couldn't take care of me. That you were young and irresponsible. That you made the loving choice to give me a better life. The words taste bitter now. We were young, Marcus says carefully, but we were never irresponsible. I was working 2 jobs and going to community college. Sunmi was finishing high school early, she's brilliant, graduated valedictorian. We wanted to keep you so badly, but everyone told us we couldn't give you what you deserved. We believed them, Sunmi adds, tears streaming. We thought we were doing what was best for you. A door slams downstairs, followed by Patricia's voice, Maya. Family meeting. Now. I quickly mute my laptop. I have to go. They're suspicious about something. Zara, wait, Marcus says urgently. We need you to know, we never stopped loving you. And if you want, we want to be part of your life again. I want that too, I whisper. More than anything. We'll figure this out together, Sunmi promises. The Whitmores can't keep us apart anymore. I close the laptop and head downstairs, but everything has changed. I'm not Maya Whitmore anymore. I'm Zara's son Williams, and I'm about to go to war for my real family. The family meeting happens in Dad's study, which immediately tells me this is serious. This room is his fortress, mahogany everything, medical diplomas covering one wall, and the giant portrait of his grandfather who built the Whitmore legacy, glaring down at everyone who enters. Patricia sits ramrod straight in the leather chair across from Dad's desk. I take the wooden chair that's deliberately positioned lower than theirs, a power play Dad learned from some business psychology book. Maya, your behavior today was unacceptable, Dad starts, but I notice his hands are trembling slightly as he adjusts his reading glasses. We've given you everything, and you're treating us like criminals. We're concerned about this sudden obsession with your adoption, Patricia adds, her voice honey-sweet but her eyes cold. It's not healthy to dwell on the past when you have such a bright future ahead. I lean back in my chair, studying them both. I called Mercy Family Services this afternoon. The temperature in the room drops 10 degrees. Dad's jaw twitches, the same tell he has during his poker games. Maya, Patricia starts. They have very detailed records, I continue, watching their faces. Much more detailed than you told me. Dad stands abruptly, moving to the window that overlooks our perfectly manicured backyard. What did they tell you? That my birth parents specifically requested a family who would celebrate my mixed heritage. Korean and African American heritage. I let each word hit like a sledgehammer. Isn't that interesting? Since you've been telling me I'm Italian for 17 years. Patricia's composure finally cracks. Maya, sweetheart, sometimes adoption agencies don't have accurate information. Records get mixed up, stories get confused. So you're saying Mercy Family Services lied to me? We're saying, Dad turns from the window, his face flushed, that we are your parents. Legal documents prove it. We've raised you, loved you, given you opportunities that your biological parents never could have provided. What opportunities? The question explodes out of me. The opportunity to hate the way I look because I never understood why I didn't fit. The opportunity to feel like a genetic anomaly at every family gathering. The opportunity to have zero connection to my actual culture. Your culture is our culture. Patricia's voice rises higher than I've ever heard it. You're a Whitmore. You go to Westfield Prep, you're applying to Ivy League schools, you have a trust fund. I have a what? Silence crashes over the room like a wave. Dad shoots Patricia a look that could kill. What trust fund? I repeat. Patricia's mouth opens and closes like a fish. Dad's face has gone completely white. Maya, he says slowly, when we adopted you, there were financial arrangements. Standard procedure. What kind of financial arrangements? Another loaded pause. Through the window, I can see Mrs. Henderson walking her poodle, completely oblivious to the bomb going off in our house. Your birth parents' families contributed to your adoption expenses, Dad finally admits. It's not unusual. The pieces click together with sickening clarity. They paid you. My birth parents' families paid you to take me. It's not that simple. How much? Maya. How much? Dad's voice drops to barely a whisper. $50,000. Initial payment. Plus educational expenses. The room spins. They didn't just steal me from parents who loved me, they sold me to parents who saw me as a business transaction. There's more, I say, and it's not a question. Patricia is crying now, mascara streaking down her cheeks. Maya, you have to understand, we wanted a child so desperately. There's a trust fund, Dad continues, his voice mechanical. For college. Your birth parents set it up. It's worth about $180,000 now. Money my real parents sacrificed to ensure I'd have opportunities. Money Richard and Patricia have been managing, and probably skimming from, for 17 years while feeding me lies about dead Italian strangers. I stand up, my legs shaking. The anniversary party is Wednesday. I assume you still want me there, smiling and playing the grateful adopted daughter. They both nod mutely. Perfect, I say, heading for the door. I'll make sure it's a celebration no one will ever forget. As I climb the stairs, I hear Patricia whisper desperately, Richard, what are we going to do? His response follows me down the hall, damage control. We've come too far to lose everything now. But they're wrong. They've already lost everything. They just don't know it yet. Back in my room, I immediately open my laptop to find 17 missed messages from Sunmi and Marcus. My heart hammers as I read through them, photos of me as a baby that I've never seen, pictures of Korean family gatherings where empty spaces were saved for me, screenshots of every birthday card they wrote but could never send. But the last message stops me cold. Zara, we need to tell you something important about the money. Can you call us right away? It's about what your adoptive parents don't know. Marcus, sent 12 minutes ago. I dial their number with shaking fingers. Zara. Sunmi's voice is urgent. We've been talking to Marcus's sister who works in family law. The money situation is worse than we thought. Marcus takes the phone. Baby girl, we need you to understand that 50,000 wasn't from our families. We were 17 and 19. We barely had $50 between us. My stomach drops. Then where did it come from? Mercy Family Services has a program. Wealthy families pay premium fees for specific demographic preferences. The Whitmores paid the agency $50,000 to essentially shop for a mixed-race baby they could pass off however they wanted. The room spins. They bought me. The trust fund is real, Sunmi adds, her voice tight with anger, but it's not from us. It's from your father's family, your adoptive father's family. They put money aside because Richard convinced them you were a charity case they were rescuing. His mother, Rose Whitmore, has been depositing money for years thinking she was helping a disadvantaged child. I remember Grandma Rose's birthday checks, her comments about me being such a blessing to the family, the way she always slipped me extra cash for college. She thought she was being generous to her son's rescued orphan. There's more, Zara. Marcus's voice drops. We hired a private investigator after we first posted on the registry 6 months ago. The Whitmores aren't just lying to you, they're lying to everyone. Richard's medical practice is under investigation for insurance fraud. Patricia got fired from her last teaching job for falsifying student records. They needed you to complete their perfect family image. My phone buzzes with a text from Dad, Maya, family dinner in 20 minutes. We're having Italian food. Thought you'd appreciate the heritage connection. Don't be late. The audacity is breathtaking. They just texted me about having Italian food for dinner, I tell Sunmi and Marcus, who both make disgusted sounds. Zara, we know this is overwhelming, Sunmi says gently, but we have a lawyer now. What they did, the lies, the false documentation, the money, some of it might be illegal. We don't want to put you in danger, Marcus adds quickly, but if you can gather any evidence of what they've told you versus what they told the agency. I think about Dad's study, his locked filing cabinet, the way both parents panicked when I mentioned calling Mercy Family Services. The anniversary party, I say slowly. Everyone will be here Wednesday. All their friends, both families, everyone who's been part of this lie. Zara, what are you thinking? I look at myself in my bedroom mirror again, but this time I see Zara's son Williams, not Maya Whitmore. I'm thinking it's time for everyone to meet the real me. And maybe it's time for a few other truths to come out too. Maya Elizabeth. Patricia's voice shrills up the stairs. Dinner. The osso buco is getting cold. I almost laugh at the absurdity. I have to go eat fake Italian food with my fake Italian family. But Sunmi, Marcus, Mom, Dad, I'm going to fix this. We love you, Zara, they both say, and for the first time in 17 years, I know what it feels like to belong somewhere. I love you too, I whisper back. 3 more days until the party. 3 more days until Richard and Patricia's perfect world implodes. The Italian dinner is a masterclass in psychological warfare. Patricia has outdone herself, homemade pasta, expensive wine for her and Dad, even Italian opera playing softly in the background. She set the dining room table with the good china, the stuff that only comes out for major holidays or when she's trying to manipulate someone. Isn't this lovely, she says, twirling pasta around her fork with exaggerated enthusiasm. I found the recipe in that cookbook Aunt Maria sent from Rome last Christmas. I nearly choke on my water. Aunt Maria from Rome? Dad doesn't look up from his plate. Patricia's distant cousin. You've heard us mention her. The lies are getting more elaborate by the hour. I pull out my phone and start typing notes under the table, a habit that usually annoys them, but tonight they're too nervous to complain. Maya, honey, Patricia's voice has that dangerous sweetness again. I've been thinking about what you said earlier. About wanting to understand your heritage. I look up, fork halfway to my mouth. Yeah. Well, we could take a trip to Italy this summer. Before college. See the places your birth mother might have grown up. She reaches across the table to squeeze my hand, her grip just a little too tight. Wouldn't that be wonderful? A real cultural experience. The sheer audacity steals my breath. They're doubling down, even now. That sounds amazing, I lie smoothly. I'd love to visit my Italian roots. Maybe we could even look up some records while we're there. Birth certificates, church documents, that sort of thing. Dad's wine glass pauses halfway to his lips. Maya, you know those records are probably impossible to find. Europe's bureaucracy is notoriously complicated. Oh, I don't know, I say, pulling up something on my phone. I was reading about this genealogy service that specializes in Italian records. They have partnerships with churches and government offices all over Naples. I show them a completely unrelated website. They guarantee results within 30 days. Patricia's hand is shaking as she reaches for her wine. That's very interesting, sweetheart. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. This is David Williams, Marcus's brother. We need to meet before Wednesday. Can you get out of the house tomorrow? I type back quickly. Who is this exactly? Lawyer. We found something about the Whitmores you need to see. Meet me at Coffee Bean on Main Street at 2 p.m. tomorrow. I'll be wearing a red tie. Come alone. I delete the message thread and look up to find both parents staring at me. Everything okay? Dad asks. Just Jenna asking about homework. I set my phone down and take another bite of the fake Italian meal. Actually, I was wondering if I could go shopping tomorrow afternoon. For a new dress for the anniversary party. Of course. Patricia perks up immediately. I'll come with you. We could make it a girls' day. Actually, I was hoping to go alone. You know, last bit of independence before college. I give them my most innocent smile. Besides, you have so much party planning left to do. Dad and Patricia exchange one of their loaded glances. After 17 years, I can read their silent conversations perfectly. He's asking if they should let me go alone. She's worried about what I might do. He's reminding her that keeping me too close will make me more suspicious. I suppose that would be fine, Dad says finally. But you'll need to be back by 5. We're having dinner with Uncle Jim and Aunt Carol to go over final party details. Perfect, I agree. I'll get something really special. Something that represents who I really am. The double meaning hangs in the air like smoke. Patricia's smile looks like it's been painted on with a shaky hand. After dinner, I volunteer to do dishes, anything to get them out of the kitchen so I can think. As I scrub the expensive plates, I can hear them whispering urgently in Dad's study. The words damage control and too far along to stop now drift through the walls. At 10:47 p.m., I get another message from David Williams, bring any documents you can find. Birth certificate, social security card, anything with official letterhead. And Zara, what they did goes deeper than identity fraud. Much deeper. I stare at that message until the words blur together. Tomorrow I'm going to learn just how far down this rabbit hole goes. 2 more days until the anniversary party. 2 more days until everyone learns who the Whitmores really are. Monday morning arrives gray and drizzly, matching my mood perfectly. I'm supposed to meet David Williams in 4 hours, but first I need to get into Dad's study and find those documents. The problem is that Richard has been working from home all morning, planted at his desk like he's guarding state secrets. At 11:23 a.m., salvation comes in the form of Patricia's panic attack about flower arrangements. Richard. The florist is saying they don't have enough white orchids for Wednesday. Her voice carries that edge that means someone's about to get screamed at over the phone. You need to drive downtown right now and sort this out in person. I listen from the top of the stairs as they argue about whether this constitutes a real emergency. Patricia wins, as she always does when her social reputation is on the line. Maya. Dad calls up the stairs. I have to run an errand. Your mother's having a situation with the party flowers. We'll be back by 1 o'clock. Perfect. No problem. I'll just be studying for my calculus exam. The front door slams, followed by the sound of Dad's BMW pulling out of the driveway. I count to 60, then sprint downstairs to his study. The filing cabinet is locked, but I remember watching Dad open it last month when he needed my social security card for college applications. He keeps the key taped under his desk drawer, typical Richard, thinking he's clever while being completely predictable. My hands shake as I flip through file folders labeled Maya, Legal, Maya, Medical, and Maya, School Records. The adoption folder is thick, much thicker than it should be if their story were true. The first document stops me cold. It's a letter from Mercy Family Services, dated March 2007, with a letterhead that reads, Premium Placement Program, Confidential. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Whitmore. Thank you for your patience during the matching process. We're pleased to confirm that a suitable infant has been identified for your specific requirements, mixed race female, parents aged 17 to 19, no extended family involvement, willing to agree to permanent contact restriction. The birth parents have been counseled extensively about their inability to provide adequate opportunities for a child of mixed heritage and have agreed that placement with a family experienced in cultural adaptation is in the infant's best interest. As discussed, the standard story will involve Italian heritage to simplify future conversations about the child's appearance. Our counselors have prepared both birth parents with this narrative should any legal questions arise. Premium placement fee, $75,000, not the $50,000 Dad claimed. Legal processing, $15,000. Confidentiality agreement, $10,000. Total, $100,000. We appreciate your continued discretion regarding our specialized services. I photograph the letter with shaking hands, then keep digging. The next document makes my blood run cold. It's a psychological evaluation of Sunmi and Marcus, dated 2 weeks before my birth. The summary reads, both birth parents demonstrate strong attachment to pregnancy and express significant reluctance about adoption proceedings. Recommend continued counseling to reinforce narrative about inadequate parenting capabilities due to age and financial limitations. Both parents are actually quite mature and financially stable for their ages, but this information should not be shared with adoptive family. They weren't too young or irresponsible. The agency lied to everyone. The deepest folder contains something that makes me want to vomit. It's a contract addendum, signed by Richard and Patricia, with a clause that reads, adoptive family agrees to maintain fiction of Italian heritage and will actively discourage child's interest in birth family or cultural exploration. Any contact between child and birth family will result in immediate legal action and demand for full fee repayment plus damages. They didn't just lie about my heritage. They signed a contract promising to lie. My phone alarm goes off, 1:15 p.m. I'm supposed to meet David Williams in 45 minutes, and I can hear Patricia's car in the driveway. I quickly photograph everything, stuff the files back exactly how I found them, and sprint upstairs. By the time Patricia walks through the front door complaining about incompetent florists, I'm at my desk with calculus homework spread everywhere. Maya. How's the studying going? She calls up. Great. Actually, I think I'm ready for that shopping trip now if that's okay. 20 minutes later, I'm walking into Coffee Bean with a cloud drive full of evidence that's about to change everything. A black man in his 30s wearing a red tie waves me over to a corner booth. Zara, David Williams says as I sit down, you look just like your father when he was your age. What did you find out about the Whitmores? David pulls out a manila folder. What they did to your family is worse than we thought. But first, did you bring any documents? I show him the photos on my phone. His face gets darker with each image. This is a federal crime, he says quietly. Human trafficking, fraud, racketeering. Mercy Family Services has been running this scam for years. Wealthy families pay premium fees to essentially purchase children and rewrite their histories. Can we stop them? David's smile is sharp. Oh, we're going to do more than stop them. We're going to destroy them. But Zara, once we start this, there's no going back. Are you sure you're ready? I think about Sunmi and Marcus, about 17 years of lies, about the trust fund built on Richard's family's pity for a charity case that never existed. I've never been more ready for anything in my life. Good, David says, pulling out a legal document. Because Wednesday's party just became a crime scene. Tuesday night, I'm lying in bed staring at the ceiling when my phone buzzes with a message from David Williams, change of plans. We need to move faster. Richard contacted Mercy Family Services this afternoon asking about updating confidentiality agreements. They're trying to bury this deeper. My blood runs cold. I text back, what does that mean? It means they know you're onto them and they're panicking. Can you get out of the house early tomorrow? Before the party setup starts. I think about tomorrow's schedule. Patricia planned to have the catering staff arrive at 10 a.m., florists at noon, with the party starting at 6 p.m. She'll be in full control freak mode from the moment she wakes up. Maybe. What's the plan? Sunny and Marcus are driving down from Portland tonight. They'll be at the Holiday Inn on Route 9. We're going to confront the Whitmores together before the party, give them one chance to come clean publicly or face criminal charges. The thought of seeing my real parents in person makes my heart race. But the timing worries me. David, what if they call the police? Claim you're harassing them? Let them. I have enough evidence to get Richard and Patricia arrested for fraud, and Mercy Family Services is about to be raided by federal agents. This ends tomorrow, one way or another. I'm typing a response when I hear footsteps in the hallway. My bedroom door opens without a knock, something Patricia never does. Maya. Her voice sounds strange, higher pitched than usual. Are you awake, sweetheart? I quickly hide my phone under my pillow. Yeah, just excited about tomorrow. Having trouble sleeping. She sits on the edge of my bed, and in the dim light from my desk lamp, I can see her mascara is smudged. She's been crying. Maya, I need to tell you something important. Her hands are shaking. About your adoption. About everything. My heart stops. What about it? Patricia takes a shuddering breath. We never meant for it to go this far. When we first met you at the agency, you were so beautiful, so perfect. We wanted to give you everything. Mom, what are you talking about? The Italian story, it started as just a simple explanation for family friends. We thought it would be easier than explaining about mixed-race adoption, easier than dealing with people's questions and assumptions. She's crying harder now. But then it became this whole thing, and we couldn't figure out how to take it back without everyone knowing we'd lied. I sit up, trying to look confused instead of furious. Are you saying I'm not Italian? Oh honey, no. You're not Italian at all. The words come out in a rush. Your birth mother was Korean, your birth father was black. They were so young, just teenagers, and they wanted you to have opportunities they couldn't provide. Finally. A piece of truth. But I need more. Did you know them? My birth parents? Patricia's face crumples. We met them once, at the agency. They were beautiful kids, Maya. They loved you so much. But the counselors convinced them, convinced all of us, that a clean break would be better for everyone. What were their names? She hesitates, and I can see her calculating how much truth to reveal. Sunmi and Marcus. Sunmi Park and Marcus Williams. Are they still alive? I don't know, sweetheart. The agency said they would handle all future communication, but we never heard anything after the adoption was finalized. More lies. They've been getting updates through Mercy Family Services this whole time. That's how they knew to panic when I started asking questions. Mom, why are you telling me this now? Patricia wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. Because tomorrow is our anniversary party, and I want to start fresh. No more secrets, no more lies. You deserve to know who you are. Does Dad know you're telling me this? Her pause is too long. We discussed it. We both think it's time. But something in her voice tells me Richard has no idea she's in here confessing. Patricia is trying to get ahead of whatever she thinks is coming tomorrow. I love you, Maya, she whispers. No matter what happens, no matter what you learn about how we handle things, I need you to know that we love you. After she leaves, I immediately text David. Patricia just gave me a partial confession. They're definitely panicking. Tomorrow is going to be explosive. His response comes back instantly, good. Sunmi and Marcus can't wait to meet you properly. And Zara? Your real parents are incredible people. You're going to love them. I fall asleep clutching my phone, dreaming about a family I've never met but somehow remember in my bones. Tomorrow, everything changes. Tomorrow, Zara's son Williams comes home. Wednesday morning arrives with the kind of perfect weather that makes Patricia believe the universe revolves around her social events. I wake up at 6:47 a.m. to the sound of catering trucks rumbling up our circular driveway and Patricia's voice directing traffic like a caffeinated general. No, the champagne fountain goes in the east corner of the living room. Not there. I check my phone to find 3 missed calls from David Williams, all from the past hour. My stomach drops as I listen to his voicemail. Zara, we have a problem. Call me immediately when you get this. Don't let Richard or Patricia out of your sight until we talk. I'm dialing his number when my bedroom door flies open. Patricia stands there in full party prep mode, hair in curlers, makeup half done, wearing the silk robe she reserves for important days. Maya. Thank God you're awake. I need you downstairs in 10 minutes. The florists are asking questions about table arrangements that only family can answer. Mom, what kind of questions could they possibly? Just get dressed and come help me. This party has to be perfect. Her voice has that manic edge that appears whenever her social reputation is on the line. I throw on jeans and a sweater, still trying to reach David. His phone goes straight to voicemail every time. As I head downstairs, I can hear Richard in his study talking urgently to someone. Understand that our agreement included permanent confidentiality. No, she doesn't know anything concrete. Yes, we're prepared to increase the annual fee if necessary. He's talking to Mercy Family Services. They're trying to buy more silence. The house has been transformed into Patricia's vision of elegant perfection. White orchids everywhere, crystal stemware arranged with military precision, and enough champagne to float a yacht. Catering staff buzz around like worker bees while Patricia directs operations from the kitchen island. Maya, tell these people whether you prefer the tall centerpieces or the short ones, she says without looking up from her clipboard. Either is fine, Mom. Can I ask you something? Make it fast. The musicians arrive in 2 hours. Last night, you said my birth parents' names were Sunmi and Marcus. Do you remember their last names? Patricia's pen stops moving. Every catering person in earshot suddenly finds their tasks fascinating. Maya, this really isn't the time. Park and Williams, right? Sunmi Park and Marcus Williams. The clipboard slips from Patricia's hands, scattering papers across the granite countertop. Where did you hear those names? You told me last night. I said first names only. No, Mom. You said Sunmi Park and Marcus Williams. You said they were teenagers who loved me but couldn't provide opportunities. I stepped closer, watching her face drain of color. You also said you didn't know if they were still alive. But that's not true, is it? Richard appears in the kitchen doorway, still holding his phone. Maya, what's going on here? I'm asking Mom about my birth parents. Sunmi Park and Marcus Williams. From Portland. Richard's phone clatters to the floor. Patricia, what did you tell her? I didn't say Portland. Patricia's voice rises to a near shriek. I never said Portland. But they do live in Portland, I continue calmly. And they've been looking for me for 6 months. They have a lawyer now. His name is David Williams, Marcus's brother. The kitchen goes dead silent except for the sound of champagne glasses clinking in the dining room. Richard and Patricia stare at me like I'm a bomb that just started ticking. Maya, Richard's voice is deadly quiet. What exactly do you think you know? My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Zara, this is Sunmi. We're in the driveway. David couldn't call because Richard had our phones traced. We're coming to the front door now. We love you. Through the kitchen window, I can see a silver Honda Civic pulling into our circular drive behind the catering trucks. I know everything, Dad. I look between Richard and Patricia's terrified faces. And in about 30 seconds, so will Sunmi and Marcus. The doorbell rings, echoing through our perfect house like a funeral toll. The doorbell rings again, longer this time, more insistent. Patricia grabs my arm with fingernails that bite through my sweater. Maya, listen to me very carefully, she hisses. Do not answer that door. Those people are strangers who want to destroy our family. Those people are my parents. Richard moves toward the front hall, but I'm faster. I sprint past him, dodging a catering assistant carrying a tower of crystal glasses, and reach the front door just as he grabs my shoulder. Maya Elizabeth Whitmore, step away from that door right now. I look back at him, this man who's spent 17 years calling himself my father, and something inside me finally breaks free. My name is Zara's son Williams. I unlock the door and pull it open. Standing on our front steps are two people who look like missing pieces of my soul. Sunmi is smaller than she appeared on video calls, with delicate features and the same dark eyes I see in my mirror every morning. Marcus is tall and broad-shouldered, with my exact smile and hands that shake as he reaches toward me. Zara, Sunmi whispers, and the sound of my real name spoken by my real mother makes everything else fade away. I step forward, and suddenly I'm wrapped in arms that smell like jasmine and feel like coming home. Marcus joins the embrace, and for the first time in 17 years, I understand what it means to belong somewhere. What the hell is going on here? Richard's voice cuts through the moment like a blade. Behind him, Patricia stands frozen in the hallway, mascara streaming down her cheeks as catering staff pretend not to stare at the drama unfolding in their client's foyer. Marcus steps protectively in front of Sunmi and me. Mr. Whitmore. We need to talk. You need to get off my property before I call the police. Please do, says a voice from behind us. David Williams emerges from the Honda, carrying a briefcase that looks like it weighs 1,000 pounds. I'd love to explain to the officers why you've been committing federal crimes for 17 years. Patricia makes a sound like a wounded animal. Richard, make them leave. The party starts in 6 hours. The Hendersons will be here soon, and if they see... If they see what, Mom? I turn to face her, still keeping one hand in Sunmi's. If they see you meeting the daughter you stole from her real parents? If they find out the perfect Whitmore family is built on lies and human trafficking? Human trafficking. Patricia's voice goes up 3 octaves. Maya, that's ridiculous. We adopted you legally. Through a premium placement program that specializes in cultural erasure, David interrupts, pulling documents from his briefcase. You paid $100,000 to buy a mixed-race child you could rebrand however you wanted. That's not adoption, Mrs. Whitmore. That's purchasing a human being. Richard's face has gone completely white, but his voice remains steady. You have no proof of any wrongdoing. Maya is our legal daughter, and you're trespassing on private property. Actually, David says, spreading papers across our marble entryway table, I have 17 years of proof. Bank records showing payments to Mercy Family Services. Contracts requiring you to maintain false heritage stories. Communications with the agency about updating confidentiality agreements, including the call you made yesterday morning. The blood drains from Richard's face so fast I think he might pass out. Sunmi steps forward, her voice quiet but steady. We never agreed to give up our daughter permanently. We were told you would help her understand both sides of her heritage. We were told you had experience with Korean culture and African American history. We were 17 and 19, Marcus adds, his voice thick with 17 years of pain. We believed the counselors when they said Zara would have opportunities we couldn't provide. We never agreed to her being told we were dead. Patricia sinks onto the bottom step of our grand staircase, her perfect party planning composure finally cracking completely. The guests, she whispers. What are we going to tell the guests? I look around at the catering staff, the crystal glasses, the white orchids that cost more than most people's rent. Then I look at Sunmi and Marcus, my real parents, standing in the doorway of a house built on lies. We're going to tell them the truth, Mom. All of it. The next few minutes unfold like a fever dream. Patricia keeps muttering about the guests while Richard stands frozen in the doorway, watching 17 years of careful lies crumble in real time. The catering staff has abandoned all pretense of working and are openly staring at our family implosion. Mrs. Chen, maybe you should take your team to the kitchen, I suggest to the head caterer, who's been setting up our anniversary party since I was 8 years old. This might take a while. Mrs. Chen nods quickly, ushering her staff away from what's clearly about to become a legal battlefield. But I catch her looking back at Sunmi with recognition in her eyes, the look of one Korean woman acknowledging another in a space where neither expected to find family. David opens his briefcase wider, pulling out what looks like a small recorder. Before we continue, I need everyone to understand that this conversation is being documented for legal purposes. Mr. and Mrs. Whitmore, you have the right to an attorney. We don't need attorneys, Richard snaps, but his voice cracks on the last word. This is our home, and Maya is our daughter. Legal documents prove it. Legal documents based on fraudulent representation, David counters smoothly. Sunmi, would you like to read the statement you prepared? My birth mother, my real mother, pulls a folded paper from her purse with hands that tremble slightly. When she speaks, her voice is clear and strong. My name is Sunmi Park Williams. On March 15, 2007, I gave birth to a daughter I named Zara Sun Williams. I was 17 years old, and her father, Marcus Williams, was 19. We were not married, but we both loved our daughter desperately. Patricia makes a choking sound. Maya, please don't listen to this. These people are my parents, I say firmly. Keep reading, Sunmi. We agreed to adoption because Mercy Family Services convinced us that we couldn't provide the stability and opportunities our daughter deserved. We specifically requested a family who would help her understand and celebrate her Korean and African American heritage. We were shown essays and testimonials from Richard and Patricia Whitmore claiming extensive experience with multicultural families. Richard's phone starts buzzing insistently. He glances at it, and I watch his face somehow get even paler. We never agreed to a closed adoption, Sunmi continues. We were told we could send letters and photos through the agency, and that when Zara turned 18, contact information would be shared if all parties agreed. That's not true, Patricia whispers, but there's no conviction in her voice anymore. Marcus steps forward. We sent 43 letters over the years. Birthday cards, Christmas cards, photos of extended family who wanted to know their granddaughter and niece. The agency told us they were forwarding everything to you. We never got any letters, I say, looking at Richard and Patricia. Did we? The silence stretches until Richard's phone buzzes again. This time he answers it, stepping away from us toward his study. Hello. What do you mean raided? When did this? No, don't say anything else over the phone. He hangs up and turns back to us, his face now completely gray. Mercy Family Services was raided by federal agents an hour ago. They're arresting everyone. David's smile is sharp as a blade. 47 families, Mr. Whitmore. 47 children whose identities were erased for money. The FBI has been building this case for 2 years. Through the front windows, I can see cars starting to arrive for the anniversary party. The Hendersons' Mercedes, Uncle Jim's ridiculous yellow Corvette, neighbors who've known me my entire life and never questioned why I looked nothing like my parents. Patricia sees them too. Richard, she says desperately, what are we going to do? Everyone's coming. The whole family, all our friends. We're going to tell them the truth, I repeat. Starting right now. I walk to the front door and step onto the porch where Mrs. Henderson is approaching with a wrapped gift and her practice party smile. Maya, dear. Don't you look lovely today? Are your parents ready for their big celebration? I take a deep breath, feeling Sunmi and Marcus step up behind me, feeling the weight of 17 years of lies finally lifting from my shoulders. Actually, Mrs. Henderson, there's something you should know about my family. Something we should have told everyone a long time ago. Mrs. Henderson's perfectly practiced smile falters as she takes in a scene, me flanked by 2 strangers who clearly share my features, David with his briefcase full of legal documents, and Richard standing in the doorway looking like he's aged 10 years in the past hour. Maya, dear, is everything alright? Should I come back later? Before I can answer, Uncle Jim's Corvette roars up the driveway, followed immediately by Aunt Carol's pristine white SUV. Within minutes, our circular drive is filling with cars, the Chens from down the street, Patricia's book club friends, Richard's golf buddies, and extended family members I only see at major holidays. Actually, Mrs. Henderson, I say, watching more guests approach with their wrapped gifts and expectant faces, I think everyone should hear this together. Patricia appears beside me like a ghost, her party-perfect appearance now completely shattered. Maya, please, she whispers urgently. These people have known you since you were a baby. Think about what this will do to them. Think about what this will do to us. What this will do to you. Sunmi's voice cuts through Patricia's plea like ice. What about what you did to our daughter? What about the 17 years you stole from all of us? Uncle Jim bounds up the front steps, completely oblivious to the tension crackling around us. There's my favorite almost graduate. Ready to celebrate your parents' big day. He notices Sunmi and Marcus for the first time. Oh, hello there. I don't think we've met. I'm Jim Whitmore, Richard's brother. The silence that follows is deafening. I watch Jim's face as he really looks at Marcus and Sunmi, as the resemblance between us becomes impossible to ignore. Jim, Richard's voice is barely audible, we need to talk. But it's too late. More family members are climbing the front steps, Grandma Rose moving slowly with her walker, Aunt Carol juggling gift bags, cousins I haven't seen since last Christmas. The Hendersons have been joined by the Patels, the Johnsons, and what looks like Patricia's entire tennis league. Good afternoon, everyone, David Williams says, his lawyer voice carrying across the growing crowd with professional authority. I'm David Williams, and I represent the Park and Williams families. We have some important information to share about Maya's adoption. Maya's what now? Grandma Rose's voice cuts through the murmur of confused guests. What's this about adoption? Maya's been part of our family since she was a baby. I feel Sunmi's hand slip into mine, warm and steady and real. Actually, Grandma Rose, that's exactly what we need to talk about. Patricia makes one last desperate attempt to control the narrative. Everyone, please, let's move this inside. There's been a misunderstanding about Maya's birth family, and... There's been no misunderstanding, Marcus says firmly. There's been 17 years of deliberate lies. Aunt Carol drops her gift bags. Richard? Patricia? What is he talking about? Richard looks around at the faces of everyone he's deceived, his mother, his brother, neighbors who've watched me grow up, family friends who've attended every birthday party and graduation ceremony. I can see the exact moment he realizes there's no way out of this. Maya isn't Italian, he says, the words coming out like a confession at gunpoint. Her birth parents are Korean and African American. We changed her story to make things simpler. The explosion of voices that follows is immediate and chaotic. Grandma Rose demanding explanations, Uncle Jim asking what the hell Richard was thinking, neighbors looking between me and my real parents with dawning understanding. But through it all, I hear Mrs. Chen's voice, quieter than the rest, that's why she never looked Italian. We always wondered, but we didn't want to ask. They all knew. On some level, they all knew. And now, finally, everyone's going to learn the truth. The crowd of party guests buzzes with confused chatter, but I can see the exact moment when everything clicks into place. Mrs. Patel nudges her husband and whispers something that makes his eyes widen. The Johnson twins are openly staring at Marcus and me, probably cataloging every facial feature we share. Even Grandma Rose has stopped demanding explanations and is studying Sunmi with the sharp attention she usually reserves for her crossword puzzles. Korean and African American, Aunt Carol repeats slowly, like she's testing how the words taste. For 17 years, you told us Maya was Italian. We told everyone Maya was Italian, Patricia says desperately. The adoption agency suggested it would be easier. The adoption agency? Uncle Jim's voice cuts through her explanation like a buzzsaw. Patricia, what adoption agency tells you to lie about a child's heritage? David steps forward, briefcase in hand. One that specializes in cultural erasure for wealthy families who want to customize their children's identities. Mercy Family Services was charging premium fees for exactly this service. I watch Grandma Rose's face crumble as the implications hit her. The college fund, she whispers. All those checks I wrote for Maya's education. Richard, you told me she was a disadvantaged child who needed our help. She was disadvantaged, Mom, Richard says weakly. She needed opportunities. We were never disadvantaged, Marcus interrupts, his voice sharp with 17 years of suppressed anger. I was working 2 jobs and going to college. Sunmi graduated valedictorian. We were young, but we were responsible and we loved our daughter. Mrs. Henderson clutches her gift tighter. Maya, dear, are you saying these are your real parents? These are my birth parents, I confirm. Sunmi Park and Marcus Williams. They named me Zara's son Williams. The name hangs in the air like a revelation. I watch recognition dawn on face after face as they realize the Maya they've known for 17 years never actually existed. Jesus Christ, Richard, Uncle Jim runs his hands through his hair. Do you understand what you've done? This isn't just lying about heritage, this is identity theft. It's worse than that, David says, pulling out more documents. At 2:47 this morning, Mercy Family Services was raided by federal agents investigating human trafficking charges. The Whitmores paid $100,000 to purchase a child and erase her cultural identity. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Aunt Carol takes a step back from Richard like he's suddenly toxic. $100,000. Grandma Rose's voice could cut glass. Richard James Whitmore, you spent $100,000 to buy a baby and lie about where she came from? Mom, it wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Uncle Jim demands. Because from where I'm standing, it sounds exactly like that. Patricia is crying openly now, her perfect party makeup streaking down her cheeks. We wanted a child so badly. We thought we could give her a better life. By cutting her off from her real family. Sunmi's voice shakes with controlled fury. By telling her we were dead. By making her grow up thinking she didn't belong anywhere. Mrs. Chen steps forward, her caterer's professional composure completely abandoned. Mrs. Whitmore, I've been in your home for 8 years setting up parties. I watched this child grow up confused about who she was. We all did. Every family gathering, Mr. Johnson adds quietly, Maya looked like she was trying to solve a puzzle about herself. Now we know why. I feel the crowd's energy shifting, turning away from Richard and Patricia and toward me and my real parents. These people have watched me struggle with my identity my entire life, and they're finally understanding why. The anniversary party is over, I announce, looking around at faces I've known since childhood. But if anyone wants to stay and meet my actual parents, Sunmi and Marcus Williams, I'd love that. Richard's phone starts buzzing again. He glances at it, and whatever he sees makes him go completely pale. That's the FBI, he says numbly. They want to interview us about our connection to Mercy Family Services. The party guests exchange horrified looks as federal crimes become undeniably real. The FBI agents arrive at 4:23 p.m., just as Patricia's perfect anniversary party was supposed to be reaching its peak. Instead of champagne toasts and congratulations, our front lawn looks like a crime scene with federal vehicles parked between abandoned gift bags and wilted white orchids. Agent Sarah Chen, no relation to our caterer, she clarifies with a slight smile, spreads documents across our dining room table while the remaining party guests hover in shocked clusters throughout the house. Most people left after Richard's phone call, but family and close neighbors stayed, too stunned to process what they'd witnessed. Mr. and Mrs. Whitmore, Agent Chen begins, her voice professionally neutral, you're being charged with conspiracy to commit human trafficking, wire fraud, and violation of federal adoption laws. You have the right to remain silent. Richard slumps into his leather chair, the one he picked specifically to make him look important during family meetings. Now he just looks broken. How long have you been investigating us? 2 years. Maya, or Zara, as we now know, wasn't the only child whose identity was erased. Mercy Family Services had 47 similar cases. Agent Chen slides a photograph across the table. This is Jennifer Kim Jackson, now called Emma Sullivan, by her adoptive family in Connecticut. Her parents were told she was Irish. Sound familiar? Patricia makes a choking sound. Through the dining room window, I can see Sunmi and Marcus talking quietly with Grandma Rose on the back patio. My real parents and my adoptive grandmother, sharing 17 years of stolen stories. The financial records are particularly interesting, Agent Chen continues. Mrs. Whitmore, your teaching salary is $52,000 annually. Mr. Whitmore, your medical practice reported income of $180,000 last year. Yet you paid $100,000 in cash for an illegal adoption and spent another $85,000 on annual confidentiality fees to keep Mercy Family Services quiet. Uncle Jim leans forward from where he's been standing against the wall. Richard, where did that money come from? Richard's voice is barely a whisper. Dad's inheritance. The money he left for family investments. The silence that follows is deafening. Grandpa William's inheritance was supposed to secure the family's future, maybe pay for Richard's practice expansion or help with my college tuition. Instead, it bought a daughter and 17 years of lies. Agent Chin stands, closing her files. Mr. and Mrs. Whitmore, you need to come with us now. Zara, you're 17, so you'll need a guardian. Are your birth parents prepared to? Yes. Marcus appears in the doorway, Sunmi beside him. We've been ready for 17 years. As federal agents escort Richard and Patricia to their car, I stand in the doorway of the house I've called home my entire life, flanked by parents I'm just meeting and surrounded by extended family members trying to process the magnitude of the deception they've witnessed. Grandma Rose shuffles over to me, her walker clicking against the marble foyer. Zara's son Williams, she says carefully, like she's practicing. That's a beautiful name. Much prettier than Maya, if I'm being honest. Mrs. Henderson approaches hesitantly, still clutching her anniversary gift. Dear, I don't know what to do with this present. I look at the wrapped box, then at Sunmi and Marcus, then at the federal agents loading my adoptive parents into separate cars. Keep it, I tell her. This is still an anniversary party, just not the kind anyone expected. Today's the day I got my real family back. As the FBI vehicles disappear down our street, Sunmi takes my hand. Ready to come home, Zara? For the first time in 17 years, I know exactly who I am and where I belong. I've been ready my whole life.